Hey everybody, welcome to the Girl Dad Girls. It's your host Danny B. With me, we also have Bri Saint Marie, and we are missing our lovely friend Rachel. She has some family issues, so let's all be wishing her well. With us today, we have Mia Campos. Say hi, Mia.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, fantastic here in Virginia. Bri, how's Texas?
Good so far, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Things can
Um,
always go south.
cool. It's not cool. Anyways, so we're doing a three-person instead of the usual quad, which is gonna be more intimate, a little sexier. So yeah. So Mia, let's start by give the folks at home a little preview. What's Mia about? Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Okay, I'm gonna try and hit all the bases that I can. Hi everyone. As Danny so nicely put, my name's Mia. I am a trans woman out of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm about almost 11 months into medically transitioning on hormones. I think I started the transition process probably about a year and a half, year and a quarter ago or so.
It's so
Um,
amazing. God, you look freaking amazing for 11
uh,
months.
I
Damn
know.
it.
Thanks.
Peanut butter and jelly over here.
For those who are listening to the podcast on Spotify as opposed to watching it, Mia is a smoke show. So she is friggin' gorgeous. So
And
if you haven't watched it, go watch this on YouTube or check out her Instagram, which she'll give you in a little bit. But sorry, Mia, go back to you.
I
Back to
have
you.
I have never heard the word smoke show before. That's a
We
new
use
one.
it frequently.
Must
Yes.
must be like an East Coast thing or something. But no, yeah, I live in Arizona. I have two kids, so I kind of fit in with y'all as the host of this podcast. I have a daughter who's 7 years old, and my son is 5 years old.
You
They're
cute.
occasionally on my Instagram too, so you can kind of check them out and see what they're doing. Um, Gosh, what else do I need to say? I have been a teacher for, I think I'm in, is this year 11 or 12?
Oh my God.
Let's say 12.
Goodness.
Yeah,
Trooper.
yeah, I'm in my 30s, like so
Ew.
yeah, I'm kind of old. Um
No, we
Wow.
we are old too.
as I just
Yeah, I
upset like
know.
I just upset all the people listening. It's like she just said 30 years old. What? And
She
Wait,
just
are
looked
you
30
30
and she looks
exactly or
22. What the
huh?
hell?
are you 30 exactly or 30?
I am 33.
33? Oh, that's what I tell people I am. That or 25. I say I'm 25 for the 13th time.
I
And
had a
Yeah.
the lucky one.
I had a student the other day ask, like, I thought you were 24. How old are you? I'm like, are you like trying to get extra credit right now? Like trying to say
Oh,
I'm
Because you're getting
24
it.
years old?
yeah. Wait, did
um,
you give him extra credit?
no, I did not give him extra credit.
Little brown noser.
um,
Now I'm taking away points.
but yeah, I'm a teacher. I went to school for music. I have a master's degree in music education, working on a PhD in music education as well.
That's badass.
And then when I'm not doing like music stuff or like hanging with my kids, I try to stay active. I play competitively on a women's plus flag football team, and then a couple of different like rec league flag football teams. I'm a wide receiver and defensive back, and that's kind of how I stay in shape without having to lift weights at the gym, because sometimes picking up and putting down heavy things gets kind of boring, and I
Oh
don't have
my
Oh,
the
yeah.
gosh.
attention span for
Yes.
it.
Very repetitive. Can't
Yes.
stand it.
Yeah. I like to like pretend like I'm doing something productive with it. Like, let me build a wall or something, or like go move around some bricks or something. But you know, um, that's awesome. So okay, so how long have you been playing football?
Um, well, I I started playing like flag football and stuff in junior high, and then like I said, I'm a music kid, and my parents didn't really want me playing tackle football when I was in high school. So I kind of skipped out on that and would like play pickup games with friends and stuff during high school. Plus, I was in band because I was a musician, and like that was kind of a lot to do in one semester to try and do football and band at the same time. So I couldn't do that. And then I basically like kept playing it recreationally through like high school, through college, and then when I got to probably like my late 20s or so, I had this moment where I wasn't really being like healthy. I was kind of eating a lot of crap. I wasn't really doing anything to like stay in shape or take care of myself. And, I actually gained weight and like got pretty close to like 200 pounds and was like,
How
that
tall
was
are you?
probably I'm 5'10" now. I think at that
Okay.
time I was like 5'11". I've shrunk like an inch since like starting
Wow.
hormones. So yeah, we could talk about that at some point on this podcast about like all the crazy changes and stuff that happened
Oh,
because
yes, please.
it's wild. I'm like learning something new every
Wait,
day. It's kind of crazy.
and wait, what are you down to now?
I'm probably 140
One
ish, like
Damn.
yeah, like
gosh.
141.
Oh,
Oh,
wow. And wait, and you're you said 5'9",
5'10".
5'10".
5'10", and you're
Yeah.
wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow,
Um,
I'm like 5'11" and 170. So,
it it took a while to get there. Like even before I started transitioning, like basic like this, I guess this brings me back to my story. So I started playing football in like a rec league, and it really started with my high school students at the time at the school I was at. I just started playing pickup games of like football with them like after school, waiting for like rehearsals to start and everything. And that kind of started getting me back into shape. So I just kept playing it. I needed an outlet. Um, and then yeah, it just kind of became like my go-to thing. That and soccer. So I've been playing soccer my whole life since I was like 4 years
yeah.
old. And
What position?
so I play left wing or left
Oh,
mid.
nice. Same.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Badass. We are
Occasionally a
like,
forward, but
yeah. Midfield was always so much more fun because you got to like run more. Like I hated
oh yeah.
sprinting and I hated defense because defense is like you can only ever do okay. Like
hmm
if you do your part right, then nobody scores. But if you do your part badly, then they score and you lose. And it's like there's no celebrating defense. Nobody's like, you know what? You played really good defense. It's like,
Right.
no, you just didn't let them score. Good job.
Unless like not to like nerd out about soccer stuff now, but like you started it. Um, my cousin's husband and I played on a team for a long time, and at one point we made the switch to where he was usually the defensive back behind me on the wing, but then we switched it to where we both played wing back on the outsides, and we did like for people that like watch or like follow a lot of soccer, like some of the older Brazil teams, what they would do when they had like Ronaldo and all them on it is the wingbacks would actually be offensive players and would function as like another midfielder. And so we were involved a lot in like the offense and like scoring, not just defending. But yeah, we could go on to like a
Lots of
sports
running.
podcast or something.
Yeah, that's a crap ton of running. It seems like.
Yep.
Yeah. I have not played soccer since high school. So
Yeah.
I know
I was
some
on
of the
a
words that you're saying.
I was on a men's team in Austin, and that was fun. Like it was, I mean, just it kept every Sunday it had something to do.
hmm
Um, although we were usually hung over for it. But yeah, Austin's a fun town. So very
Sweet.
cool. So in music, so you teach music and you play music too.
hmm
What do you play?
Um, trumpet.
Trumpet. Whoa,
That's that's my main instrument. And yes,
that's awesome.
for anyone that asks, it's very much Lady Gaga inspired. It's like near the same place that she has a trumpet tattoo.
Oh really? Oh wow. Okay.
Love that.
Did not know she had one. Yeah, I am a drummer. Gosh,
That's
gotta
that's what
get
my
free
that's what my son wants to play. He tells me every
drums.
day, he's like, I'm gonna play drums. I'm gonna get
So
a
much
drum set.
fun. Drums are the best.
Now,
They
Mia, do you have a tattoo of the state you live in on you?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Oh.
Because everybody that I'm running into these days does.
I don't know if I want one yet. I think if I was gonna do anything, because I live in Arizona, I would do a cactus.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that'd be cute.
Yeah, I like do like a cactus or like a cactus blossom to like keep the floral theme with all my tattoos. So
Are all of yours black and white, or
no,
just black ink?
actually,
Or
most of them are color. I don't know if you can really see it. This is
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite. This is my favorite one. So the like dying like thorns and like leaves are black and white, and then they wrap around my arm and hit the chemical symbol for serotonin because I
yeah.
Oh.
have had like struggles with depression and everything. And once they hit the chemical symbol for serotonin, they bloom into the different flowers and stuff that are going
Oh,
up my arm.
cute.
That is
That's awesome.
amazing.
I think we had somebody who was it fierce. We had another person on who had like something where it was like a dying plant, but then it hit I think estrogen and it became alive.
That's
Something
my
like that.
So
next one.
that was Sarah.
Sarah.
Yeah, that was
Oh, the
today's
one that just got
episode.
released today.
Yeah.
Ha.
Don't tell me
Also a
about
Cool.
teacher.
it. I haven't listened to it yet. Don't tell me about it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. No surprises.
Sarah is from Hawaii. We're trying to
Awesome.
go all the states. So you're covering Arizona for us. So that means good. We don't have to have Zoe on. Jeez.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Don't
Just kidding.
don't be attacking my friends like that.
Zoe's fantastic for and oh also Mia, just for those who are just gonna drop off the podcast, drop off listening because they realize how boring that we are. How do people find you on the internet? What is your
Um,
internet and information?
so really? Like that, gosh, that couldn't have been said any more awkwardly.
What
Um,
is your internet phone
What
book
is your
location?
internet
so
address?
I'm mostly on Instagram. That's where I like communicate and do everything the best. I have a TikTok and a Snapchat, and they're all under the same username. So at run_MNC.
Okay.
So like run
Uh
DMC, but MNC instead.
Oh shit. Okay. That sounded familiar. I was like, why does that sound so Run DMC? Okay.
Mhm.
yeah.
Love it.
We have a run club here that my friend and I started, and we're run 3 and B. It's 3 Notch Brewing, and everybody's just
Mhm.
like, "You can't really steal that." And I'm like, "But we did, and we do, and we made T-shirts, and so that's it. That makes it official." Um,
It's
so Mia, what? So 11 months into medically transitioning, what
Mhm.
have been your biggest like aha moments? Like, is there been anything that like you weren't expecting?
Hmm.
That like kind of and that same regard, what were things that you were expecting that kind of came that were true about like that, about your transition?
or maybe
Um,
didn't happen.
Yeah.
okay. So I think like to start, I'm sure that there's stuff that surprised me that like I can't think about off the top of my head, but I'm one of those types of people where when I start doing something, especially something that's like as impactful or has as many like implications as transitioning and going through like this whole process, which as y'all two know probably better or just as well as I do, is not an easy thing to like get started and get going. And there's a lot of stuff involved in like actually starting the process. So using like my PhD brain kind of stuff, I pretend I'm smart sometimes. I like started reading a bunch about like the normal things that like happen, outliers that happen, the way the body responds in general to like different kinds of HRT and methods and stuff like that. And so I'd like to feel like I had a pretty good understanding, but my timeline was like really off from like what like the World Health Organization or whatever, like the one if you Google like HRT timeline comes up.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I started breast growth pretty quickly. My like with that like sensitivity in that area also happened really quick. um the the mood swings and stuff like I was kind of prepared for, but when I switched from pills to injections, that ramped up a lot. And
Yeah.
that's a whole
Um,
interesting thing in itself too, because for me, like granted, I can only speak on myself and my experiences. Um,
yeah.
I would like be taking pills for my HRT, and I would have moments where like my emotions would be at like an all-time high and like being completely elevated or like completely content and fine with life, and then like really, really down moments where it's just the super, super sad girl, like give me a
Wait,
carton
that
of
was
ice cream. And
with pills.
yeah, but
Mm.
it wouldn't
Really?
happen all that often. Um, Whereas when I
Huh.
switched to injections, like it was more predictable. If that makes sense.
Huh.
Like the
No,
mood
it
swing
does.
the mood
It's
swings would happen.
same thing that you had and I had.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, like the mood swings would
Hmm.
happen every now and then, and I just like couldn't like prepare for them. And so like it felt like they would hit a lot harder on pills because like I wasn't ready for them. Whereas like now with my cycle of when I do my injections, I'm like, oh, it was Monday or Tuesday. Like that makes sense. That's why I kind of feel crappy and like am sad about things, or like things are like getting to me. So
Hmm.
it's made it like more predictable in that sense, but I'm still figuring stuff out with it. Like I've noticed that plays like a big it plays a big part in like things that like I'm interested in doing. And I've noticed that like I wear my emotions a lot more on my sleeve than I used to. And I mean, in part of that's like from therapy and stuff, and like learning how to show emotion and embracing them. But it's also like a lot of like I think the injections kind of just bring my emotional well-being to the front, which is kind of crazy. um Let me see, what else did I experience? I was not ready for like my body to shrink as fast as it did. um
What- You
like
what do you mean, like shrink is in like
uh
just total mass or
so I think I mean like I think like the different kind, like what actually makes up the body mass that I have. Because before I started transitioning, like I was doing CrossFit and stuff like that,
yeah.
and was at a point where I think pre-transition I was probably about like 175 ish or so, around that area, and I had a lot of muscle. Like I was, thinking about like CrossFit lifts, like I was squatting like repping like 365 pounds. My 1 rep max deadlift was like 405, which was like ridiculous, like to even fathom now, because I've lost like I feel like I've lost like 30 pounds of muscle because I definitely can't do that stuff anymore. Um, my height has shrunk by about an inch, um, maybe like half an inch or like 3/4, but I'm definitely shorter than I was when I started hormones. And my my shoe size, that's hard to say really fast. Um, my
That's
shoe size has shrunk by a full size too. Like I was um a men's 10, woman's like 12-ish when I started transitioning, and now I'm like a woman's 10 and a half, 11, and
yeah.
or a men's like 9 in unisex shoes. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's actually, yeah, I was like a 10 and a half on men's, and now I'm wearing like a 10 and a half, 11 in women's.
mhm.
But it's maybe just because I also cram my feet into tiny shoes. But uh yeah, or I was wearing giant shoes before. But that's
Yeah.
interesting. How early in your transition did you switch to injections?
um about 2 months ago is
Okay.
when I switched. Um like that, and honestly I was fine on the pills, but it was very much like some of the emotional side effects of like not being able to predict my mood swings and everything were really starting to affect me. And so one of my friends that is also trans is like, well, you should try injections because this is like how I feel about this. And so it just happened to conveniently have that conversation before I had like my prescription renewal with my doctor. And so I went like that next week and was like, can I try injections because I'm feeling this and I don't want to feel that. Can we give it a shot? And it's been working
A
great
literal
since.
shot.
Are you
Literally.
are you like, and so Bree's gonna laugh at me because I'm still on pills because I'm a wuss about needles. But did you see changes happen? Like, I guess you've only been on 2 months on injections, but are you feeling like the changes speeding up after you're going to
Yes.
injections?
My face has softened a lot in the past 2 months. And um it's and like I don't it's hard to tell though because like it could be like the injections like helping it, or it could just be I'm at that point in like my
That's
timeline because I'm nearing a
yeah,
year. So there's like too many variables to really decide
yeah.
what
I
is what.
I
So
feel like everybody that I've talked to that's gone to injections has been like, yeah, everything's sped up afterwards. It's like, well, but how do we know that that wasn't just like your time?
well,
But I guess it's like my only thing is like, I guess if it's the same difference, why not just try it?
yeah,
But so because
I
I've
will
heard
I
say
people
might
swear by
this.
it,
just
but yeah,
I might just be a one-off, but I switched to injections 3 months
Hmm.
after starting. So I was on pills for only 3 months. And
you do have huge tits.
yeah, that's the
Big
titty
old
fairy
titties.
visited me really fast. And
And
Mia, I have shrunk 2 inches, like
Wow.
2 full inches. If you go to my page and look at my driver's license
Hmm.
post, it shows like my convict picture, 5'10", and then my princess picture, 5'8". So I've shrunk. My tits are huge, and
they are big,
yeah, they're big ones.
big
But
boobies.
I don't know if I'm a
We're gonna
one-off,
see him. We're
but
gonna.
I think the injections really helped.
Well, I think it does. Like, I mean, I started filling out a bra a lot better after I
Mhm.
started injections. But again, like I don't know if that's like timeline wise or what, but I don't know. It's just with the body and like I'm not like a physical scientist or like a biological scientist, so I can admit that I don't know anywhere near what I should to like have a justifiable opinion on it or anything. But like there could be changes because of the injections versus the pills. Like maybe I would have like that same kind of breast growth, but like I'm running so much and playing football so much that like I'm not storing that fat in like the
Yeah.
way, maybe someone else would. I am definitely guilty of like I have ADHD and I'm very guilty of the whole ADHD stereotype where it's like I get hyperfixated on something or doing whatever and then I realize, oh, it's 8 p.m. I didn't eat lunch. Well, it's dinner time now. Oh, I didn't eat dinner either. And then like
Mm-hmm.
eating
Mm-hmm.
food before bed.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm sure that's part of it too. Um I will say about injections though is like I'm a freaking wuss and I hate needles and shots. And I
Yeah.
realize the irony in saying that as I have like an arm full of tattoos. But
Oh no, same. I mean, I had to get my flu shot yesterday, 2 days ago, and I like almost had like a panic attack.
I
So
mean, but like in a way, I've kind of like flipped it where like I was telling a friend, I'm like, it's kind of empowering to give yourself injections because it's basically taking that fear or like that discomfort of like having a needle shoved in you and being like, yeah, fuck this discomfort. I'm gonna
it,
own it and
where do you give yourself injections?
in my leg.
In your leg, just in your thigh?
Yeah.
And does it
You
hurt?
switch back and forth every time.
No, I do the same leg every time. I'm a creature of habit. Um, no, I
And
mean
like,
the needle's really small, so like you
do
don't
you
really feel it.
do you like kind of like in The Rock where he like takes the thing, shoves it in his heart like that? Do you do that? Do you like just go like funk?
Like an
Put it in.
EpiPen.
Funk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do it like that, or do you just go like do you go dainty?
Um, I mean, I don't stab it in. Like you have to use like a little bit of force, I guess. But I do like the whole thing where it's like you kind of pinch a part
Uh-huh.
of it to relax the muscle so it doesn't hurt as much. And then I kind of like give a little force and ease it in and then inject it.
The
Do you do it weekly?
Weekly, yeah.
Okay. I'm on every 4 days.
Oh wow. That I don't think my brain could keep track of that if I'm being honest.
I have to have it in my Google Calendar, to be honest. It's like it pops up. Oh yeah, tonight's the night. Okay,
well,
cool.
I'd be sitting I think it's been 4 days. It's been 6. Oh, I better go do that.
Yeah. I do less more frequently. Because the mood swings you're talking about, I tried every 7 days, and my crashes were so bad that around the 6th or 7th day, I was spending a couple of hours in an empty bathtub just sobbing for like 2.5 hours over nothing.
Hey, Bri.
So Doc
Uh,
was like, okay, you need to be on a 4-day schedule
Well-
so your crash isn't so hard.
well, so oh, sorry, go ahead, Mia.
Oh no, you're good. Let's keep
Um,
keep going on this if you had something
Well,
for it.
so I guess my question. So, and I'm doing this as somebody who's considering switching to injections, and maybe there are people on listening who are thinking the same. So, one of my big things though is I get seasonal affective disorder like a motherfucker. Like I get, for those who don't know, seasonal affective disorder or SAD, basically it's like when the days get shorter and it becomes gray and muggy out, I get really down and depressed. So that would be the thing I'd worry about is like exacerbating that by having a crash, like what Bree's talking about, and basically being sad, but then also crashing. Do y'all think is it one of those things where it's easy to regulate that kind of stuff, or?
So you should again, we're very similar in more ways that we keep discovering every single day. You should probably ask about the 4-day schedule.
My sister
I
Bree.
think the 4-day schedule would probably help you regulate that. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't
Okay.
crash anymore at all. I'll have the occasional sob at a sappy movie, but it's very different from being debilitated in a bathtub.
Yeah, okay.
And
As long as I'm not gonna cry from Bluey like I normally do. God,
hey, Bluey is an emotional show, okay?
God,
Like
it
that's my
is, right?
favorite. That's my favorite kids show. I'm
It's
like,
so good.
Absolutely.
But also too, like with the injections, like I guess like to kind of like make that feel better, it's like, yeah, you might have that crash, but it's gonna be predictable. Like if you're gonna keep having that crash, it's gonna
That's
happen
true.
around the same time every time. So you can kind of like mentally prepare for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Get my little Himalayan
And
salt rock out.
I've told you this 100 times, but in case listeners are jumping in on this episode, pills, you're losing 20% of what you take in. You're only soaking up 80% on pills. And on injections, you're taking in 100% and you're bypassing the liver filter and everything else. So it's much more efficient. And I don't know how many more people have to tell you, Dani, before you actually do it.
I mean, my doctor keeps saying it's like he keeps saying it's the same thing. I mean, he's a doctor.
He's a doctor
but
out of the
but
hundreds of
but but
thousands.
but also, I mean, but my rebuttal to that though is if it's all the same, then let me try. Bonk.
There you go.
So
He
I
should
think
be
he's convinced
succumbing
that
to your
he's gonna have to
wishes
give me
for the
the
most part.
shots.
Yeah.
So what?
He should be kind of in line with your wishes and what you want to do, not telling you exactly what to do.
Dr.
Yeah.
Kid. Dang it, Dr.
Kid.
Kid. But I think he's convinced that he's gonna have to give me the shots because he's like, do you really want to come out here once a week? And I'm like, I don't think I would. I think I'd do it at myself at my home. Because
Yeah.
I'm a big girl. I
I
actually probably get my ex-wife to do it. She's an she really wants to stab me in more ways than one. So
Mia,
hopefully she doesn't watch this.
I really want to get into your modeling stuff.
Okay.
So
What about?
kind of start from the beginning, how you got into it and where you're at right now.
So gosh, where to start with this? So I never really thought that it would be like something that could happen until I actually took a Vegas like girls trip with a bunch of my friends that are also trans girls. And so we took a whole Vegas trip just to go hang and like do whatever, like have fun and whatnot. And during that trip, one of them who used to model was like, have you ever considered doing it? Like, because like I was talking about like side jobs and like making money and like, you know, being a single parent of 2 kids and like all that stuff. It's, you know, it can be like overwhelming. And I'm like looking for ways to make sure that I can provide for my kids and like do my part with my co-parent to provide everything that we want to for our kids. And so she floated this idea of like, hey, have you ever tried modeling? I used to do it and you would probably be pretty great at it. And I never really like thought it was a thing. And then like a couple of other people were like, yeah, you should give this a shot. You should you should just see what happens and try it out. So I got connected with a photographer. And it's like a lot of the pictures that are currently like being posted on my Instagram are from the portfolio shoot that we did. And then I guess before that shoot happened, one of the things that like kind of really gave me the like, okay, I should do this is a tattoo artist had me model a tattoo for them. So I got a tattoo for like basically free, like next to nothing to for her to like take pictures of and, you know, use for stuff. So I modeled that and then did the portfolio shoot, and now being a freelance musician for quite some time while I was like in school and everything, I'm at the beginning stages where it's like I'm networking, building a portfolio, kind of trying to get more regular work, but like nothing is like really super concrete yet where I can say like, oh, I'm constantly like shooting for this person or like this company or whatever. So it's still in like the very early stages, but kind of like transitioning. I'm trying to like go through it like really methodically and slow so that way it's established and like nothing catches me by surprise and any of that stuff.
That's
But
amazing.
You have
yeah,
do you have an agent or anything? Have you worked with those?
that's where I'm at right now is like finding an agent and, you know, someone that like I trust that is able to like market me as me to
Yeah.
like find stuff.
Yeah.
So this whole week, a lot of my spare time has been sending the portfolio like, oh, hey, I saw like someone like, hey, someone referred you to me. Like, can you send me your portfolio stuff and we can like start going over it? And it's been a lot of that stuff. So it's very early in the
Yeah.
stages, but I mean, I'm hopeful. I've been getting a lot of good feedback.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
mean, the stuff you've been posting on Instagram has been amazing. Like it's just like
Mhm.
holy moly. Um,
yeah,
kind of
Miranda is awesome, the photographer I worked with.
um
She's great.
I've learned recently that like yeah, the photographer and actually yeah, and the makeup artist are very important. And if you have bad ones, yeah. So um I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna stop there because I'm gonna say something I'm gonna regret. Anyways, um,
Hey, if an
Just
so
agent approaches you and say they work for Casting Couch LLC, don't go with them.
yeah.
anything. I feel like anything with couch in the name is probably something. It's like, no,
Yeah, or
we're
fake taxi, whatever.
like
it's a whole different career path right there.
Yeah, the kind you don't want to go down.
um so I guess one of the, actually I did have a question about what something you brought up. So you said you went to Vegas with some girlfriends. How is there a really big trans community in Phoenix?
So believe it or not, I don't know how true this is now, but the last time I talked with someone about it, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, I think specifically Phoenix, Arizona, has one of the largest trans populations per capita for a city.
Oh shit.
Damn.
Crazy, right? Because you
That's
think about
amazing.
Arizona
Yeah.
and like normally like where our state lies on like the political spectrum of things.
Yeah.
And like same thing, someone they told me that like, yeah, it's like got one of the largest trans populations in like
So
for a city in like the country. And I'm like, no, it
do
doesn't.
you know about
So
I guess you must know a bunch.
are you
Trans
including like Scottsdale and Paradise Valley and all of those in that, or just
You know,
Phoenix proper?
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen like anything official from it, so I can't say that. But from when I was being told about this and everything, I am just always acting under the assumption that Phoenix means the Phoenix area, including the suburbs. So like I live in Chandler, which I'm like 10 minutes from Phoenix, technically,
Mhm.
not even in some areas, but we're still like considered the Phoenix area.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I actually do
Okay.
love that area. I have spent admittedly a lot of time in Scottsdale. Like we used to have a family friend that just had a really nice place there. A lot of Thanksgiving.
it's it like
Oh, that's really fun.
Mhm.
Arizona's kind of a cool place to live in that it's kind of like places that have a winter, but flip-flopped. You have three kind of really shitty months of hot and summer, just like how
Okay.
in a lot of places that snow, you have like 3 or 4 kind of shitty months where it's snowing and cold and frigid outside. And so instead, you have the 3 months of really hot, but then you have really great weather the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I mean that.
November was pretty chilly, to be honest. I was kind of surprised.
I mean,
The house that we went to, the guy was like a pretty I think he's still a pretty known realtor in the area. Um
Mhm.
but he was heating the pool for us the entire time we were there. And at like the second to last day, he goes, "Hold on, I'll be back in like 2 hours. I gotta go sell a house to pay for the pool heating bill."
yeah. That we used to do that every. My parents used to do that every New Year's Eve, and it
Mhm.
was it was like the gas bill from doing that is just fucking insane. Um,
I could not
but it was
imagine.
worth it, I guess, maybe for a pool party. Um, but so okay, so that's awesome. That there's a lot. It seems like there's. I mean, I guess I just come from a place where there are like 3 other trans women ever, like in this area, and they're all 50. So that seems that's awesome. It must be really like reassuring to have that many like trans women around you.
It's very helpful. And like, I mean, if there's anybody listening that is new to like transitioning or cracking their egg or is, you know, might feel that transitioning is like a step that they need to take, um, having like some people in your court like that is one of the best things that you could do because it definitely helped me a lot. Like they're like I guess one of the things and like why I love football so much is when I got divorced, I was kind of looking for like a new community of people and like just some place to like not to sound cheesy, but as I was like kind of figuring things out about myself, I'm like I need a place that like I can kind of feel like I belong in. And that's where I found what's called the PGFFL, the Phoenix Gay Flag Football League, and
Yeah.
it's a branch of the National Gay Flag Football League, and so
What?
it's an LGBTQ oriented flag football league, and that's actually the umbrella league that my competitive team is under. I play on what we call the women's plus team, so it's women that are part of the LGBTQ community or allies, or women's plus being like trans and non-binary individuals. So finding that league and like finding these people that have been through situations similar to me, like questioned like a lot of the same things that I did that like led me to transitioning. Um, Literally one of the best things that could have happened to me because as I was like going through stuff and like kind of weighing decisions and like figuring out like, oh my gosh, is this something I want to do? Or like even just having like a hard day on hormones when I started and like going through that kind of stuff, I had a handful of people that I could like reach out to and like talk to. And through that league, I met like one of my really good friends who um has kind of like been able to like be there and like be like, oh yeah, like, you know, you're only at like this point medically like transitioning wise, like this is going to happen, it's going to get a lot better, or like what you're feeling right now is like pretty normal, or what you're going through right now is pretty normal, it gets better. And so it was just really
That's
helpful
awesome.
to like kind of have that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that must be. I mean, it must. It sounds amazing. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's the hard part about growing up in like or being living in a small town is there's just nobody. But do you find that like do you go to like meetups and things with other trans women or a lot?
Um, I don't really like just through that instance and then like networking through like other people I've met or like honestly even like some dating apps and like finding someone's like, hey, I'm not really interested in dating, but like I'm looking for friends and like connecting with people through that. Like
Yeah,
I'd consider like I have 3 friends that I would consider pretty close. Like they talk to me about a lot of stuff. Like Zoe's one of them, Dani that you know, and
those
um
babe.
like they talk to me about stuff, I talk to them about stuff, but I have 3 friends that are either going through or have gone through like the same stuff I'm going through right now. And we were pretty regularly like meet up to like play racquetball or just like
That's
hang at the
awesome.
house to like watch football or whatever it may
Oh
be.
my God, that sounds awesome.
It
It's
does
pretty
sound
great.
awesome. I've
It's
found a few meetups here in Austin that it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
They do funky things that I'm not like about. I don't
Like
know.
all the
It's
like
hard.
trans women here are like either like very much older, which is fine. I mean, everybody ages, but we just don't have anything to talk about, or like militant, like they're like the like leather jackets and want to talk about just getting AR-15s and eviscerate the proletariat kind of. We got to tear down the
uh
patriarchy,
I don't know
kill
what
the
that
kill
means.
kill the white man, and it's like, oh my God, can we just talk about lipstick? Shut up.
That
But
that does make a difference. Like I mean, like transitioning and like noticing. Hold on, I got like hair in my mouth. Sorry. But like talking with like other girls that have like kind of like going through the same thing, and like you start realizing, at least for me, like when I started transitioning, I started realizing like what my actual personality was and like what I wasn't like putting on as like a mask to like appease other people and everything, which is like a whole fascinating thing and probably could be like two podcast episodes in itself, is like how myself, and I'm sure I'm not alone, like unintentionally or like as like a subconscious like safety meaning, like my brain like masked like a lot of behaviors or like
Hmm.
desired behaviors because like that's not what boys do kind of thing. But
what
as I
what do
started,
you mean? Like what would be an example of that?
oh boy. um so like a big common one, and I think a lot of this is, I think a lot of this is done, at least in my experience, without intent, but like growing up in a Hispanic household and as a guy, particularly the firstborn guy when I was in boy mode, um has a lot of like implications in like that culture and everything like that and whatnot. And so I think when you grow up around that, like sometimes you're, at least for me, like thinking about it, I could realize like my brain was very much like, no, you need to act this way because this is what's expected of you
Mm.
and how you're supposed to act. And stuff like that. Like even to the point of like realizing that I was changing my voice to sound more manly.
Really?
So, oh yeah, so the way I'm talking right now is literally my normal voice.
No. I
Yeah.
was gonna ask you about that because it's pretty much ear butter. Like you don't do any voice work.
No, like I mean, I've
Damn it,
applied
Mia. Damn
we
it.
can talk about some of the stuff that I think about with it to sound more effeminate, but the reality is that the way I'm talking right now, this is my literal, like, not thinking about talking or how I sound or anything. This is how my voice
Yeah.
sounds without
Because
it.
I've been working with a voice coach, and so it's kind of like going up here a little bit, but not really. I mean, I don't know. I can't really.
Um,
I figured I started the podcast with going with my regular voice, so going back to this would be kind of fucking weird. But let's
so
do it.
like because I have a higher voice, I think
Yeah.
about making my voice effeminate in like a bit of a different way. So being a musician, I kind of relate it to music and like how we would approach singing and doing different things like that. So to sound more masculine, I'm going to put my voice more in the back of my throat, or I'm going to feel like the vibration and stuff is happening here. I don't know if this is the case for everyone. I'm an instrumental music teacher, not a choral music teacher. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. But if I want to sound more masculine, I'm going to put my voice sounding like it's vibrating further back in my throat. And then when I talk, I'm going to talk more monotone like this, and I'm not really going to change my pitch, and it's going to sound more manly. But my normal voice, if I want to talk and sound more effeminate, I'm going to put my voice more coming at the front of my mouth, not thinking my nose, because then you're going to get like that nasally sound, but more at the front of your mouth where like my teeth are. That's where I put my voice most of the time, or where I feel that the sound is coming from. And then to sound more effeminate, it's all about the cadence and like listening to like interviews and like how people talk on TV. A lot of what we would consider an effeminate voice is a little bit of a faster cadence of rhythm, and it's not going to be as monotone. It's going to be more melodic. Like you're not like, I don't think about sounding with like a really high voice or something like this, because that's going to sound fake. Instead, keeping it low and thinking about my voice being more melodic and having some ups and downs and some certain changes in tempo to make it faster. And that's kind of like what I go for to like match what I guess people would consider an effeminate voice.
I've gone kind of in the more, I guess the hard way to say it, like it's more Valley Girl kind of thing of like, so anyway, this is the podcast and we're just having a great time. Kind of that and then raising it up a little bit, and oh my gosh, Nia, I love that purple behind you. It's so cute. And it's so when I went on a date last night, and when I was out, I was just like, so tell me about yourself. So you're a Star Wars nerd. Cool. Tell me about that. I have Star Wars tattoo. But yeah, like do you find yourself like being colorful like that? Like is there a like genre of talking that you aim for to sound more feminine, or just kind of generally up and down, more dynamicism with pitch?
So going back to what we were talking about like how growing up like or like transitioning kind of opened my eyes to like being more authentic to myself. If I'm being completely honest, I don't really think about any of that. This is just how I feel comfortable talking.
Damn it.
It's just that simple.
And so like I was like messing around with stuff and I'm like, this sounds natural. And then my ex-wife is like, dude, that's how your voice always sounds. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm like, is my voice really that high pitched? And like, I'm gonna go listen back to this podcast and I'm gonna be like, no, it's not that. It's not as high as I think it is. But
It's a good like androgynous. You're in that good androgynous area, I think.
yeah, I mean, like
And
I guess to like base it off of someone, like it's kind of like, who am I thinking? I kind of aim for like a mix of like almost like pre like Wrecking Ball Miley Cyrus and Jennifer Lawrence.
oh, fun. Oh, those are good ones.
Because they're attainable. Like they're both very alto, like
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, no, I love that.
yeah, like
Um,
I'm not gonna sound like Anne Hathaway or
yeah.
Sandra Bullock is also another one for like cadence and how she talks. Like that's another one I try to mimic.
I have a friend who had like an hour-long commute, and she said that her way she got her very feminine voice is she would just put Taylor Swift on and just belt it
Yeah,
all
I
the
mean,
way, an hour there, an hour back, and she would just sing fucking Taylor Swift. I've learned a lot of Taylor Swift in the past, but I still kind of sound like this and kind of fake. But
I
yeah.
mean, I guess it also just depends like where your vocal cords are and like what their size is and like how they resonate and stuff like that.
Totally.
Um,
Yeah.
because even like pre-transition, like to if you listen to bands like Rush or like Coheed and Cambria or like a lot of
Oh
the like
yeah.
emo scene bands of like the 2000s, like that's my natural range of singing is like
Oh wow.
all of that higher stuff. And so like to back up your friend, that's usually my warm up. And especially if I know I'm going to be talking a lot during the day. Oh my gosh, I keep getting hair in my mouth. But if I'm going to be talking a lot during the day, which I usually am because I'm a teacher, I do like some normal vocal exercises to like kind of relax my vocal cords and like make sure everything feels good. And then I sing and like kind of just work on inflection and range like that.
What do you
And
normally sing to warm up?
I do sing to Taylor Swift. Like a lot of her songs work really well. Britney Spears, like early Britney Spears too,
Oh
also
yeah.
works really well.
Huh.
Trying to
I
think
love
what
it.
else. I'll like sing some stuff that I just like to. Like I'll sing a lot of Fall Out Boy, just like working more on like my mix and like belting, just so I'm kind of relaxing everything and just kind of feeling where everything is resonating at, so that
Yeah.
like I don't have a right answer because I'm not a vocal coach or anything, but it's like the more aware I can be of everything that like makes the sound of my voice, the more control I have in altering it to sound however I want.
I love it. That's awesome. That is I mean, I know a lot of people listening to this are probably going to want to hear, because your voice does sound fantastic, and everyone's going to
Thank
want to
you.
hear, how the hell do I get that? How do I achieve that
Well,
achievement? Mia voice achievement unlocked.
I
So
mean, and honestly, I mean, Danny, you can probably relate to this really well, is one of the one of the best things that like set me up for transitioning and a lot of the frustration that can come from transitioning, because like don't get me wrong, it's the best decision I've made in my life. I'm so much more happier, like so much more comfortable in my own skin and being myself, which is one of the unwritten like benefits of medically transitioning is like you don't the way like I describe it to people is it's like when you're in high school and you get your first car and it's like the beat up old car that like your parents maybe had, that's the only one they trust you to drive, and that's like literally your body before transitioning. But you think it's awesome because you're a high school kid, you've never driven before, you now have a car and you can go places and go out with your friends. And then you transition and you basically get your hormones to match the way that your brain is wired, and that's you buying your first like legit like nice car that you've always wanted and everything, and then you drive it and you're like, holy crap, my old car was a piece of crap, like
yeah.
how was I
When you want
driving
to
that
treat it
thing?
nice, you're like the old car, you throw stuff on the, throw stuff on
Yeah,
the ground, and like,
but
go over speed bumps really fast. And the new one, you're like, no, 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 no. This
like
is
going
fancy.
going back to your question though, is being a musician and like going through all that and going through like music school and like learning how to rehearse things actually like made a lot of the hardship that comes with transitioning easier, because a lot of things take practice. Like doing makeup takes practice.
Mhm.
Working on your voice takes practice.
Mhm.
Clothes to an extent take practice because you have to like basically start shopping for a whole new body type
Yeah.
and look. And I think for me at least, one of the things that like music helped me with is music makes you feel okay being really shitty at something the first time you do it, and then you work on it and you practice and you can like process and like measure the progress that you're making. And when you have those days where it gets like really frustrating, you can kind of tell you like you can be frustrated, like own that emotion, but then you like I would like tell myself like, it's fine. This is like the first time we've tried doing this.
Yeah.
We just have to keep practicing it and it'll get better. And
Yeah.
I'm speaking
Totally.
specifically of like winged eyeliner. I was so bad at doing my wings when I first started.
Wait. Come closer to the camera. Let's let the. Oh wow. So for those who are on Spotify, you have to go check out Mia's pictures. She looks damn good with some wings.
Mhm.
Yeah, that but no, what you were saying about like the whole practice, because that's, I mean, honestly, I've started using my girl voice a little bit more, like especially at work and stuff, and people have I've gotten feedback like that sounds fake. That's not a real voice. It's like, well, I'm not gonna get better at it if I don't work at it, stupid. So I gotta
Mhm.
keep talking with it every now and then. And if I continue to go back to boy mode voice, then I'm never gonna get better.
Yeah,
So
like that's a real part of it is like you you have to kind of put yourself out of a comfort zone to an extent. Now, how much you put yourself out is up to you, but like with your voice, that's a big one. Makeup's a big one. Like I know I did like neutral eyeshadow shades for a long time, and like I'll
yeah,
be honest, I still hate doing like really bright like greens or blues or purples for
really,
eyeshadow because I just feel like I'm bad at it. And so like I'll practice it and I'll do it every now and then, but if I'm going on a date or something, it's not going to be my
yeah.
go-to
Oh
like look or
wow.
thing that I'm doing.
I guess that's yeah. I mean that's like, I guess for those I've gotten to the point of this. I found this metallic like
Mm-hmm.
eyeshadow that's like this. It's like a liquid eyeshadow, and as opposed to like the powder and everything, and it just goes on and it accentuates all the right things that I want. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess also, I mean, your skin tone, like I because I'm freaking Casper the Ghost over here. But and the green kind of stands out. But yeah, I wonder if
Mm-hmm.
like what color with your skin tone. For those who are listening on the podcast, Mia's got this freaking wonderful olive skin.
Um,
And
my let me grab my palettes. I'll show you like what I use. So if there's any
all
like new
right,
people that have like
Yeah.
the same skin tone as me, give me like one
yeah,
second.
Yeah.
okay,
Snag it.
snagging it.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so for those on Spotify.
Again.
Because I'm our production crew that pushes out to Spotify really wants us to make sure that we are keeping track of what what's being shown. So
Okay.
our Spotify production team.
I'm not sponsored or endorsed by any of these companies, but I mean, hey, if they want to throw it out, like I'm more than happy to throw an Instagram post. So like my favorite, and I think not even like olive skinned, but like just any skin tone. This particular palette by
Soft glam.
Anastasia
Mhm.
is perfect for like everybody. So
Oh,
it's
cute. Yeah.
very,
Oh yeah.
very
That's
Kind of
neutral
really
runs the
similar
gambit.
to what I use.
with some metallics, but works really well. My favorite, the one that I'm actually wearing right now, like I don't know how well you can see my eyes um in the camera, but the one I have on right now is this Naked Robin Eisenberg palette.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Um this one's got some wild ones that are out there that are really fun to use. But
Oh, look at that blue.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Get it,
And
girl.
that peacock way over there.
mm-hmm, yep. But the neutrals in that one can mix really well with like some of those more out there colors. So like this was my stepping stone palette into using like different colors
Yeah.
other than
Yeah.
neutrals. And then my other favorite is this Masquerade mini palette. And kind of the same thing as that one, just a couple of different tonal.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See,
So
Love those.
I'm a blue and green bitch. So,
hey,
gotta
if
or
you know what
purples.
works for you, like if you know what works for you, you got to do it. And
I just like
um
I just got to do my eyes. Like my eyes, it's the only thing on my face
mhm.
that's not super Neanderthalic. So gotta highlight
oh, whatever.
them.
Mia, are you finding the further you get down this train track of transition, like for me, like at the beginning, of course, I was caking it on because I hadn't finished my laser yet and everything else.
hmm
But I'm kind of at a point now where I've got the mentality of less is more. Um, So I really only do like my eyeballs and that area around it now. I don't do anything else.
Um,
And
Both
kind of like
involved.
you, I did my eyeshadow. I start with earthy colors
mhm.
for the base, and then I'm a big fan of putting like a little bit of gold over top just to get that
Ooh,
sporkle.
that little je ne sais
Um,
quoi.
Yeah. And then I
I
cheat and I use the stamp for the wingtip.
I think as my face like softened and like as I got further along with laser, um, I got more comfortable
Hmm.
not wearing as much. And so like on days where I teach, like basically or like days when I know I'm not going to be like going out after work or anything like that, I actually don't wear makeup at all. And if I do anything, it's like lip gloss and like some mascara to like just bring out my eyelashes a little bit. But yeah, like I think probably about 3 months ago, maybe like yeah, maybe like 3 months ago is when I kind of like hit the point of like I can just do like a little bit of like bronzer and foundation and concealer, and that'll get me through the day. Um,
Yeah.
but and I probably could have done it sooner, but I think for me, like that dysphoria and fear because I have really dark hair and that's what a lot of my body hair and at that point in time facial hair was like. And so in my head when I would look in the mirror I would see it and be like I can still see like a 5 o'clock shadow. I can see even though it's not there, my brain is
Mhm.
just like projecting it on there. And so it took
Mm.
me a while to like get over that and like realize like, oh, no, I could go a day not wearing makeup or very little makeup and like make it
Hmm.
work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean,
All I have left is I started a little later, because
mhm,
I'm ancient. But when I started getting
Mhm.
my laser, I have like a ton of grays, and of course it doesn't
mhm,
get that. So all I have left at this point is like some fishing line that just grows
mhm,
out of my face, like right here.
Yeah.
But even if I go like a week, you can't, like you said, the dysphoria is real. I
mhm,
can feel it there, but I've realized now that you can't really see it unless you're like 6 inches from my face.
mhm. For sure.
So it's like a mental hurdle to get over.
It it really is because it could, like you said, it could be all gone and you're still like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I
You're
guess for
still
me, it's if you
panic
feel it.
shaving in the morning. It's like,
Yeah. It's
why?
like, well, like I don't want some guy to like be like rubbing on my face and be like, "Oh yeah, I feel your shadow coming in." It's like, damn it, guy, it doesn't
Damn it,
exist.
guy.
oh no, like
Stop being that guy.
it's a real thing. It really is. And gosh, I'm trying to think of like other things like that might have been a thing. Like I don't know, like I started laser before I started hormones because like again, like
You,
I had stuff planned out and
yeah,
I was like, well, my hair is going to be super coarse and thick before hormones. So if I start laser now, I can ideally get more of it before it starts to like thin and get smaller. And so like I started my legs
that's
and
smart.
my
Yeah.
legs and my face before like before and like right when I started hormones. And then once I finished those, then I did like my chest, stomach and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I love those first couple of sessions on the face because all those follicles were just popping off like popcorn.
Hmm. Well,
I guess.
I hated it like the past few sessions because as my skin softened, my sensitivity got way worse.
Yeah.
And like when I started laser, she's like, "Oh, it's gonna hurt a little bit." I'm like, "No, I feel fine. Like it's you can crank up the level of
The
the laser.
volume.
It's gonna be fine." Yeah, volume. You can tell where my brain is most of the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, my hair
Oh,
keeps
the
bothering me.
intensity. Crank up
But
that
Yeah.
intensity.
there you go. That's what it is, the intensity. But then like these last few, I'm like, oh my gosh, did you like turn it up more? She's like, no, it's the same setting we've been. I'm like, it hurts so bad. Like, what is going
I
on?
know. I've said
Well,
the
and it's like,
same thing to my techs, and they're like, "Are you serious?" Yeah, it's legit painful now. Like those first 6 sessions were walking the park, and
well,
now
you
it
think it wouldn't
feels
be.
like shit.
My tattoo that I modeled for was the same way. Like this whole arm, like the forearm
Mhm.
one, we did in one 6 hour session, color and everything. And I just like sat there, let her ink up my arm and everything and did it. And then when I modeled the tattoo, like literally had to have a friend there to like hold and like squeeze their hands, like, oh my god, this hurts so bad. Tattoos have never hurt like this before.
It's interesting because I got this
Huh.
one pre everything, and I would be interested. I want to get some more, so that'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what it's like now. So I got this one like 7 years ago.
When all the microneedling and broadband laser face, all the face stuff I've been doing, it just like it didn't hurt the first couple times because it was, but when I first started, I was maybe a couple months into, but I just went and did a Moxie, which is basically like a face resurfacing, and it felt like I was getting a tattoo on my face,
Ooh.
and so, but yeah, um, in that, I guess in the vein of like procedures, um and you don't feel like you have to answer this, are you aiming for any surgeries? Have you had any surgeries? Are you thinking, are you avoiding those? What are your thoughts?
So I'm doing consults for confirmation surgery for bottom surgery.
Hmm.
I know for sure that's something I want, just because like that extra part of me down there is something that causes a lot of dysphoria for me, and
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I I have like no interest in it being there and want it gone. Um, so like that is a for sure. Like I've been scheduling consults and trying to find someone to do that. Especially because like I'm lucky and my insurance is actually very, very helpful for gender affirming care. Like I think if I remember right, reading through it, like including the electrolysis to like get rid of any remaining hair, because I've been lasering like my whole bikini and Brazilian area to get ready for the surgery. But any remaining hairs that would need
Oh, yeah.
electrolysis, my insurance would cover that and would cover the surgery. And my basically I'd have to meet my deductible, which would be like $5,000.
Yeah. Do y'all do WPATH? If are you do you know are you familiar with WPATH, the World Professional Association of something of Trans Health?
Yeah,
Um,
I think they follow that. I don't know the ins and outs. Like that's kind of where I've always been like the person, like even with my tattoo artists and stuff like that, it's like you're the expert, like you tell me like what we're gonna do and follow, and then that way I can like make a decision after that. So
yeah.
that it's still a very recent thing because I'm a year into hormones at the beginning of November. And so I have to schedule any surgery after that, really, because like my insurance
Yeah.
is very much like you have to wait a year on hormones before you can start
Mhm.
doing stuff.
Yep.
So
Same.
a lot of those things haven't like crossed my mind, or like the details haven't like hit me yet with it.
Well,
But
so I guess one of the things I did notice, I had a friend who was able to like schedule the consults
mhm,
ahead of time,
that's what
but
I'm doing.
like,
Mhm,
yeah, okay, yeah, because essentially, like, I was told by my insurance that I couldn't even schedule consults until, so that first, 365 plus 1 day, I was
mhm,
calling, but I have all these friends who are like, yeah, I scheduled like after 3 months and a consult, and now I'm a year in and I'm getting FFS in 6 months, and it's like, yeah, I think for those who are listening, don't listen to your insurance or the doctors. Just schedule, like, if a doctor says you need to be on hormones for a year, lie and say that you've been on hormones for a year, because it doesn't fucking matter when they get around to it. Um,
well, and the
but
reality the reality of it is like I know for bottom surgery, usually it's about a year and a half booking out in the States anyway.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
that's why
yeah.
I started them. And
Yeah, so I would suggest anybody I know, like, because I waited for FFS consults until I hit a year, because I listened to my doctors and I listened to the insurance, and you don't call the doctor's office, say, yeah, I've been on hormones for a year, and I have to say, tell them you have the letters. They won't ask to see them until like the consult actually happens, but they'll probably book you out for 6 months for the consult. So
mhm,
go ahead and book it out, because by the time you get there you might have your letters already.
mhm,
And especially if you go to, like, I think it's called queertalktherapy.com or something like that. I'll put a link to it right about here. and it will the guy charges like $200, but he talks to you for an hour and then writes you a letter, and it's one of your
Well,
therapy letters that you need. So
and that's where I'm very lucky that my therapist, I love her. She's like one of the best people in my life. But she is part of the queer community, and a lot of
have
her
fun.
patients are of trans or non-binary gender identity. And so she's very familiar with like the whole process. And it's like I've had like a session like, hey, I have my consult coming up. It's on this date. Like I know I have the letter from you. I'm gonna need that second letter. She's like, okay, I'll work on that. I'll give you a list of people to call, and
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we can get that stuff set up. And
I mean, it's kind of ludicrous that we have to have the letter anyway, especially when it's like you're 35 or yeah, like 33 and I'm 38 years old. Like I still have to have, mommy and
Mhm.
daddy sign my permission slip to go get my body altered. It's like
basically,
so
but
but yeah, it's just ludicrous. Um
but yeah, but I think
Fun
that's
times.
really it surgery wise.
Really? Not like top surgery or FFS or
Well, because I play sports, like I always tell people all the time, like I'm all for staying on Team Tiny Tits if I'm gonna keep running around and playing sports, so I don't have to deal with that.
that's true.
And
That's
so,
awesome.
I mean, I fill out a B cup, which is like all I like really want and
Really?
need.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Oh, they look nice.
Yeah, the top doesn't like
Yeah.
really help. It like kind of blends it in. But yeah, like I as long as I'm like playing sports and I'm being super active, like I think that's plenty
Yeah.
for me.
What? And
Um,
you said that you used to just started filling out the B cup once you started injections.
mhm.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting.
and and also like it really helped too to find like the right bra size that set everything the right way. So like I measured and like did everything, met with someone to like measure, and they're like, oh well, your bra size is like a 38B. And like it just kept feeling weird like when I would try to wear it. And
38?
so
Wow.
exactly. And so then I'm like, what if I go down to like a 36 or a 34 or something? And so I did. I
Yeah.
went down a couple of sizes and it fit perfectly. I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, like I have a 32 that I like. I mean, granted, it's on the third of the three things, but it feels better than I could 38. Jeez Louise, that's insane.
exactly. It was, yeah, it, I don't know
I
where they
mean,
got their measurement from, but
well,
that's,
that's what I've found, and like tell me if you've experienced this too. But like most people and like it's makeup artists are the same way. Like people who are fitting you for clothes and everything, they think that you can do a trans person the same way you can do a trans woman the way you do a regular woman. Like I've had my makeup done recently by somebody who does exclusively women, like cis women, and the makeup did not look the best.
mhm.
Hopefully, sadly, he's probably gonna be listening to this, and he's probably gonna find out that I was not a huge fan of his makeup. But he made my eyes look very tiny, and my face looked like I looked like this weird, like
Mhm.
squinty-eyed little person walking around. And and it also like made me smile a whole bunch for pictures, and I was like, I have a fucking terrible smile. So, but yeah, like, but do you find that like people like when you're talking to somebody who is trying to give you advice or like they do makeup or they do aesthetics for women, they just do it wrong because they're trying to treat you like a cis woman, and it's like our bodies are different, dummy.
Um, Thankfully, I only got like one like consultation um on like how to do makeup like in person with someone, and then the rest I kind of like did on my own and like figured out. It's like the whole creative side of me where it's like in a way it's fun. It's like doing music. It's I'm gonna mess with this, or I'm gonna normally I do my
Yeah,
bronzer like this. Let me see what happens if I do it this way, and kind of found
yeah,
things that worked. And like YouTube is an awesome tutorial source. Like I hate when people like to shame YouTube and like, oh, well, you can't just do a YouTube tutorial for everything. I'm like, yeah, you totally can though, because like there's
you
a lot of
absolutely can.
good ones out there. Um,
Yeah,
but it's like I did that, and then clothing, I don't really listen, or like I didn't really seek advice on clothing because going through college and high school, I worked at some higher end retail clothing chains where like we were paid on commission. And so like I kind of learned how to dress women before I started transitioning to live as the woman that I am. And so
Yes.
basically when I started buying clothes in my wardrobe, before I started medically transitioning again, like I like to plan everything out, is like I would put a little bit of money aside from every paycheck, and that would be my wardrobe fund. And so every month I would add a couple of pieces to my closet. So that way when I started hormones, I had a closet of clothes to wear. So I wasn't like wearing the same things. But I'd had experience like fitting and like shopping for women basically. And so like knew that my body type, like even though my waist says this size, because I don't really have hips like most women do, like the
Yeah.
size chart says I'm like a 6 or an 8, but like I realistically wear like a 2 and a 4 or
Yes,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah. They like I always love the people who are like, yeah, so you're 30. I was like a 32, 34 in men's, and they're like, okay, cool. So you're probably like a 7 or an 8 or 10 in women's. And it's like, no. Give me a 4. Like I even have some 4s that are baggy right now. And it's like, yeah, because I don't have hips. Ding dong.
Basically like what I would tell someone if someone's listening and like they're newly transitioning and like buying their wardrobe and everything is for bottoms at least. A good rule to go by is your waist size. Look at what size whatever your waist size is, look at whatever size that is on the hips portion. And you'll see
Yeah.
it kind of lines up
Oh
better.
yeah.
The size.
Yeah,
That's
I've whatever I'm buying now, especially for tops, I go off the bust number only.
Yeah.
And that's just, if anything else is a lie. Like that's, and when I've started doing that, everything's magically from Amazon started fitting.
yeah. I mean, my
So,
my whole thing is like I just used to do like crap tons of pull-ups, and so like up here is just my back and everything is just too big for every like I got Stitch Fix because I'm an idiot. I'm a masochist. And Stitch Fix came and they gave me a bunch of sleeveless stuff, and I just looked like I was about to bust out. Like I She-Hulked out of a bunch of it.
I like a lot of my Stitch Fix stuff.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, like I'm just like I'm very much an upside down triangle in terms of how I'm shaped. And so like they sent me something. It's like, yeah, the waist fits fine, but then I'm up here. I'm just like She-Hulk. So
I am shaped like this, basically.
like a beanpole. Yeah,
Basically,
jealous. I
like
wish I could be 140. Good Lord, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
throw
no
up now.
shit, right?
yeah, like I think sizing wise, like I started sizing basically a size up in women's, and then as I started learning like the way fits for like different types of cuts of shirts and everything went, then I could be a little more particular. So like certain clothing I wear a size small in for women's, and then certain clothing I wear
Yeah,
like a size medium in. But then,
yeah.
like in unisex or men's clothing, I would wear a size small and or an extra small if it's like super baggy. But
Really? Oh, you're so little.
kind of.
Just a little bit.
Mia.
But
Oh.
well, and like that's a
Oh,
thing. Like if I'm being honest, like that's a thing that I acknowledge, and like on either side of it, like people I think need to acknowledge that everyone has like privilege to a certain extent, and that privilege might not always be like economic or like situation wise. Like that privilege could be like body type. Like
yeah.
you like were mentioning surgeries and stuff. Like I haven't had facial feminization surgery yet, but like my nose is like already like kind of small
Yeah.
and like pointing upward, like
Pretty
what people would
thin.
consider like an effeminate nose. Um, my brows have like a natural like arch to them.
Yep.
Um, and then the like real big kicker, the one I always joke about that's like, oh, this is probably a sign that I should have
Mhm.
noticed
I think I know
earlier.
what you're gonna say.
I I don't need a trach shave.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't have one.
I don't have an Adam's apple,
It's just gone.
or at least a visible one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I know what she's gonna say.
But yeah, like and then like
Very cool.
I stopped working out before hormones, and like my arms are like
I need to do
they're
that.
long, but
And you
they're
just like so you basically just do cardio.
I mean, so like I said, like I was doing CrossFit and stuff, and then when I really, you know, came to terms and in a way like accepted that I need to transition and that I'm a trans woman, um, I kind of stopped doing a lot of the heavyweight lifting and like
Yeah, absolutely.
stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I really just played sports. I'd play soccer one day of the week, play football another day of the week, and just started slimming down. And then when I started hormones, I didn't really lift weights or do any like
Yeah.
crazy training until like a couple months in. And
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've basically just it's all been like body weight exercises, like trying to avoid anything upper body just because it's like just die already. So so for those who are on Spotify, I was looking at my upper body because it's just like I my beard before I started before I realized that I was trans was to work out a whole bunch. Like I was doing every hour on the hour doing 50 push-ups and for you probably 8 times a day. So
Well,
um
it's
yes.
funny because it's like that was so going back to like earlier when you had asked like what are some of those things that you were doing to like that like you were masking with or whatever, and that
Yeah.
was totally one of them. Like I was never really comfortable or never really thought that I had like a good body, and like before transitioning I'd been like I'd said like I was unhealthy, I gained a bunch of weight, I started losing that weight and replaced it with muscle and was in like really good shape and had a ton of muscle, and I still thought that like something didn't
Yeah.
look right or seem off. And
Yeah.
then lo and behold, like that's what it
Yeah.
was.
It's
Is
like the yeah, I would work out the more I'd work out, the less I liked my body, sadly, which was like, what the hell's going on?
mm-hmm.
But that's awesome. I guess it's almost done, but I did want to get in the question that we always ask everybody, and I hope you've had time to think of it. What, Mia Campos, what is your transition theme song?
Hmm. I mean, honestly, I was like thinking about this like when you first asked it and was thinking about it, I think when I listened to Kizzy's podcast with y'all.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
And I had like a couple of answers, but I definitely am gonna center in on what I've been saying has been my theme song for like life and everything, and that's Focus by Ariana Grande. And
Okay.
like well honestly, because it's like like the whole process of transitioning, like
Yeah.
the boost in self-confidence and like the raise of self-worth that you have for yourself when like your body and like your brain kind of like finally feel right and like working in cohesion together, is it
Yeah.
creates this like kind of confidence, and it's like, yeah, y'all better just focus all of your energy and attitude on me. Like that's exactly
That's
where I want to be.
Love it.
I love it. That's a I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna make a playlist that of all these songs that anybody can go listen to on Spotify and or YouTube. Yeah.
Yes.
So well, awesome. That's great. Well, cool. I guess we should probably end regular. For those who are just tuning in, this is the first Girl Dad Girls. You'll be happy to know that the fun is not over. The fun's only getting sexier. What we like to do with our fun guests is we have to do an after hours that we will be providing to people who are subscribing to the Girl Dad Girls subscription thing that we're gonna figure out someday. Um, Anyways, so what happens is we stop this session and we start the sexy session. And if you're not a subscriber, why the hell not? Um, anyways, I guess Bri, any any closing thoughts?
Any clothing thoughts? Let me think.
Any
No.
clothing thoughts?
Um,
I love your top.
Oh, it's a full
It
dress.
is.
I love your dress too.
It's
I
very
love the top of
cute.
your dress.
What the hell is that laugh? Um, I guess one closing thought, it's kind of fun. If anybody listening right now has not seen Mia's Velma cosplay, go look at it because it's
Pretty,
banger as
it's pretty
fuck.
good. I'm not gonna lie.
Scooby fucking do.
I need to get a picture of my friend because my friend did Daphne with me.
No,
And
that's amazing.
actually, I need to find it, but there's a picture somewhere. All the girls that went to Vegas with me, we were all different characters from Scooby Doo.
It's amazing.
Like, I am so jealous of that friend group. Good Lord. All my friends here are dudes, and they're all very manly dudes.
Hey, we're doing our own version of Vegas, but we're doing a girls' trip to Missouri. Because I have a timeshare
Fun.
there
Oh,
on Lake of the Ozarks.
and
Fun.
Aruba in January. We're gonna go
And
to
Aruba.
Aruba
Yeah,
in January.
maybe we
My
can throw an
birthday.
invite to this one because she's fun.
Mia? Bri, you talk about that after. No, just
Oh
kidding. Just kidding,
shit, that's
Mia.
right.
Just
That's right.
kidding,
Fuck.
Mia.
Too
Because
late.
Mia, you and Zoe can always come anywhere that we're going. We would always be lucky to have two wonderful ladies such as yourselves. My closing thoughts are, Mia, you are just above and beyond wonderful. Like, I'm so glad you were able to come on and just be a little ray of sunshine.
Oh, I'm
And
happy to do it.
yeah, thanks for just like, yeah, answering all of our stupid questions.
They are
And our
not
not stupid
stupid
questions
questions.
and
Putting up
our
with our
fun
nonsense.
questions. And just letting us generally goof around. So like I said, for those who are just not subscribers, this is where we let you go. For those who are subscribers, get ready to learn about sex. I don't know.
And failed
Anyways,
relationships.
sex and relationships and everything else. So anyways, but all right. Well, bye, regular people. Bye. This has been a production of Girl Dad Girls Podcast. Check out new episodes every Thursday. If you are interested in knowing more, please email info@girldadgirls.com or find us on Instagram @girldadgirls. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.